I hope you're having an amazing day. So today we're gonna look at overview of Saql queries. So this is not an advanced Saql course, so I will cover that in a later time when we talk about Einstein certification. So this one just I wanted to give you a basic introduction to what Saql looks like and why do we need to use Saql, right? And then I will show you how to register for how to enable Einstein in your org if you're using a regular org, right, where you have a lot of other stuff going on, and suddenly you decide to go and activate Einstein. So I'm just going to show give you a very brief idea about that stuff as well. Okay, the first thing first, right? You need to log into your for this demo purpose. You need to log into your Einstein org. So once you log into your org, it will take you to the setup page, right? And we're gonna go to Einstein Analytics Studio. So that will take you to this page. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at one of the existing dashboard which I've created in my previous episode. If you haven't watched that, I would highly encourage you to go and check it out. So where we talked about embedding dashboard on a lead object, right? Okay, so we're gonna pick this dashboard. Right, and so you can see this is a very simple dashboard with a chart on it, nothing fancy here, right? So let's edit this one. And now you might wonder, right? So Einstein is a pretty point and click tool, right? Everything can be done using point and click, right? And so if you're someone who's not a technical person, it's very obvious to ask the question, right? Why do I have to write a Saql query, right, when I can do everything using point and click, right? Because Salesforce is very flexible in that perspective, right? That's true. It's a very legit question. It's so what happens is that there are some scenarios, right, where you can't use point and click to do the certain things. I will demonstrate that, what I mean by that. And if you wanted to extend the functionality, you can use Saql as well. Most of the time, you may not have to use it, but at times you do have to learn how to use Saql. So I'm going to demonstrate how the Saql looks like, and we can tweak a little bit of queries here and there, right? And that's all I wanted to talk about today. And I'm going to show you the resource which you can refer to if you wanted to read further about the Saql in your spare time, right? Cool. All right. So we are on this dashboard page, right? Nice and easy. So double click on this one, right? And now you see if this this query mode, right? If you go here, so you get this query here. Now you might wonder what the heck it is, right? This is nothing to do with the SQL. You might be someone who came from a SQL background, but you might find this very confusing, right? Yeah, it is a bit different, right? It's a bit different to T-SQL, which are used to writing on SQL Server or Oracle. So it's a bit different. So it's even a bit different to Saql as well, right? Okay, so I'll explain you one by one what each one means, right? Then we're gonna fiddle with queries a bit. Okay, the first row, right? So it means you're loading a data set, right? The first demo lead is the name of my data set that's been referred on that specific chart, right? And then once I load the data set, right, I'm assigning this to a variable called Q. I mean, I don't know why they used the variable called Q. They could have used anything else because it's a very poor naming convention, because I came from a programming background and this kind of naming convention sucks. I mean, sorry for my bad language, but yeah, so whatever. So, I mean, you can use whatever you want, right? But, I mean, I don't like to use Q. It doesn't make any sense to me, but either way. Okay, so you load that data set and you assign that to a variable called Q. Now your Q holds the data set in the memory, right? And then you have a data set in the memory. Now you group that data set using two fields. That's a lead source and name, right? That's the second one. And now, once you do that, now this is how you outputting the result using for each generate, right? So this is how you're saying, oh, you're looping through the data set for each, right? If you're someone who have used Apex, right? You've used for each to loop through the collection, loops through the list, right? So similarly, we are looping through the data set, right? So, and we are generating, the rows and the rows here, the data row. So we are doing the lead source. We have name, then we have account, then we have some of, and then the fourth row we are ordering by lead source in ascending and name ascending. You can change it either way. I'll show you how to do that. And then we are putting a limit of 2,000, sorry. Right, so this is all the very basic queries about. So you can run this using here, run query. Since we haven't changed anything, that's why this option is disabled. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do one simple operation to tell you why Saql may be a good choice at certain point of time, right? So close this option, right? Leave it. We don't want to save it. Now let's say I wanted to filter this I wanted to add two filters, right? I wanted to add filters like I wanted to say the lead source, right? I want to say the lead source should be equals to partner referral. Okay, sorry. You know what? Just give me a second. Let's say you wanted to make a lead source something like, I wanted to have a lead source as partner referral, right? So which is nice and easy. You have a filter now, lead source as partner referral. Cool. Now you decide to, for whatever reason, your business decides that, okay, I wanted to add a filter, lead source as web as well. So what we're going to do, you're going to add the lead source, and then you're going to see the lead source as web, right? And then you wonder, what the heck happened? I mean, you obviously expect it, right? So to filter it by a partner referral or web, right? Because your business requirement is to include web as well, along with the partner referral, right? So that's the business requirement, because initially you were adding a filter to display only the partner referral, which is great. And now your business head said, oh, look, I wanted to view the lead source by web as well. So you said, okay, cool, I can add to the filter. It doesn't work, right? The reason why it doesn't work, because you are doing AND clause, right? Because lead source equals to partner referral and lead source equals to web. That's what is happening by default here. So the only way you can change it by using Saql here, right? So if I use Saql, right? Okay, you see this filter Q by lead source, right? Now, I don't want this one. By default, it's saying, okay, I have already a data set which is filtered by partner referral. Now, I wanted to add an AND clause to this as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this boy here, right? And I'm going to use, the OR clause. In Apex, you use pipe signs, right? And so that means this line is of no use to me. So I'll take it off. Pretty simple, right? Okay, now let's run to see what's happening. Voila, you got, the partner by web and partner referral as well, right? This is exactly what we wanted. Fantastic. Now, let's update it. Now, you see what happens once I update it. Right, it's gone. Cannot use it because the region requires the measure. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to change the chart to bar, right? We change the chart to bar. Now, go back to the lead source here. You have filters here. Now, you see you can't modify the filter anymore because you've used the Saql here. Once you use the Saql, right, you cannot visually change the filter here. If you wanted to change it, you need to go and change the query. Okay, now I have something like, let me go to query mode. I do not want to display the lead source in ascending order. Instead, I want to make it as a descending order. Can we do that? Absolutely. So what we're going to do, we can do as DSC, right? And then run a query. There you go. So it's in descending order, right? So you see it jumps the position, right? So this is how you can use the Saql query. And then let's say I wanted to add more option to it. Let's say I wanted to add group by phone as well, right? So you need to pay attention to case, right? Because what happens is if I use phone here, right, lowercase, and you see, you won't get anything because the phone identifier, make sure the phone identifier exists and spelled correctly because it's a case sensitive, right? If I put P as capital and works, it works, voila, right? So this is how it works. So you can do a lot of options here, and you can even join to different data set using you can join two different data set as well. There's a co-group option is there, right? Something called hang on. There's something called co-group. So using that, you can join two different data set. You can use union, you can use other options as well. So this is just a basic overview. I'm not going to go in detail into this. Just wanted to demonstrate how it works. Okay, and you can limit it as well. Limit, you can say I wanted to show only 5, right? You can pretty much do that. Okay, so what we did hang on a second. So we didn't run the query. Let's see if it works. Right, so we only limited by 5, right? So it's limited by 5. So you can alter a lot of stuff using Saql. Saql is very powerful, right? It's very and another thing, nice thing I tell you about this editor, it got intelligence as well, right? So if you do control space, right, you get the intelligence, you know, options to say, oh, look, these are the, because I don't know, like for instance, I don't know what's co-group, right? So it gives you an option for co-group. So intelligence work for keywords, so which is great, right? If you're someone who comes from SQL Server background, you know, or, you know, intelligence is all about. Cool. Okay, so that's the basic thing I wanted to talk about the Saql. So I'm gonna leave it here, right? And then so if you wanted to get more information about Saql, so go Google Saql query Salesforce, right? And then you can go to developer.salesforce.com. So it will take you to documentation. So you got Saql reference. So you can talk. You can go and study by yourself if you're interested to know more. He talks about the basic elements, keywords, strings, coded strings, commands, how to write, right? And then operators, so different kind of stuff. So if you wanted to know more, so you can always go and do that. And then it even talks about the query performance. So that's you can probably have a look as well. I mean, these things are for advanced Saql, so that's why I didn't want to cover today, because we are not doing an advanced Einstein course. This is a very basic introductory course. So that I can get you started to give you a basic understanding about how how Einstein works. So that's all the course is about, right? Okay, sounds good. All right, now what happens, right? If you're, let's say you're in a normal org, right? And if you wanted to register, if you wanted to enable Einstein, how to do that? So it's pretty straightforward. So you go to developer, so you go to this gear cog icon and go to setup. And you go to type in analytics, right? Right, and there's, so if you go to getting started, right, and it will give you an option called enable Einstein, right? And then right now it's enabled, so it give you enable Einstein. So, and once it's enabled, you can launch the Einstein. But might happen that you might get an error, right? You won't be able to register for whatever, enable for whatever reason. So you need to go to the help documentation to see. Sometimes it could be an email issue, sometimes it could be permissions issue, could be a different reason why, where you get an error, right? You can't enable for whatever reason, right? So it can happen, right? It happened to me at times. So there was some permission issues. So yeah, once you so what happens is that once you activate this one, right, it will create a permission sets for you. So permission sets, let me go to permission sets. So so it will create a Einstein permission sets for you, as you can see here. Don't worry about the clone. So the non-clone one, right? So admin. So as you can see from the admin, right, where you have access to pretty much everything, right? And Einstein user, you don't have access to much here. If you go to system permission, so you pretty much have only view access here, right? You don't have access to create or edit anything, right? If you wanted to give a user, a non-admin access, but to give them more access to do, let's say, create a app or create a dashboard, then you need to clone this and assign the user to this permission sets, right? So I hope you understand how the permission sets work. So that's one of the reasons why I mentioned to you guys that you need to have a basic understanding of Salesforce before you jump into Einstein, right? There's no point in getting into the fancy AI stuff, before you understand the fundamentals, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so that's the very basic thing I just wanted to cover. So this is how you can do it, and you can go ahead and read more information about the Trailhead. So they cover a lot of pretty good stuff out there. So we're gonna talk about sharing and security next time, and then we're gonna talk a couple more options. And after that, we're done with the very basic Einstein part, right? So this is, as I said, this is just an introductory course. Then I have planned to create a Einstein certification course, exactly what's required, and like I did for Platform Dev 1, so I wanted to create the plan for now. The next task is to create a certification course for Platform App Developer on Lightning, right? Because there are a lot of courses out there that covers about Classic, right? And I wanted to do that for Lightning, and I'm going to do it for free. I mean, because I believe education is for free, and it's for my own learning as well, right? It's a good refreshing for me to teach other people, right? And because I'm just giving back to Salesforce community. That's all I'm trying to do. So, and then we're going to do Einstein, right? And then probably not this year. I'm not sure if I get time. We're going to do Integration Designer. That's a bit complex course to make, but I'm going to make it for you guys. And then, yeah, stay tuned. So it's a long process. Then we're going to do, because I'm going to cover App Builder, Einstein, Integration Designer, then a couple more other architect level stuff, right? So at least you guys can get system certified. Then we're going to look at application architect side of things, right? Platform Builder being an exclusion from that. Cool. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I wanted to talk about it today. Wherever you are, take care, stay safe. Adios and greetings from New Zealand.